Yo, so I just want to point out this is therapy for us all. Like week in, week out. We look forward to it. Listen,
Fellas, it's gonna be one of them nights.
It's gonna be. I'm telling you. What's up, baby? Another Tuesday night at 9, man. Welcome, fellas. Yo, Leafer, why your camera look like that?
I think it's the light's too bright, man. That's what I was trying to figure out. I got this bright old light in here, so it's making
Did you
it
try
clear.
to wipe it off?
I did earlier, but let me try again. It might have smudged when I touched it.
But no, man. Tonight, man, because of September. September marks a few things every year, and football, which I know we're semi glad is back, but we got waxed. Oh my gosh, like come on, we've been waiting all year for this. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad I ain't paid a 400.
Oh my god, I would have been pissed. We would have paid that. You man, oh, we did get the Fire Stick situation. So, are you able to get it on your Fire Stick?
Oh, you already know.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So why would you even going the other way about it?
Because sometimes it buffers. Like, man,
yeah, it was
something like that, man. You want, you want the official.
Yeah.
But if you need the sauce, let me know, man. Life Hack Lucas.
Okay. Period. Hey, that could be an actual thing, man. Teach everybody how to get around the system. But
I just ain't had the time to monetize it.
Period. But yeah, other than that, man, it also it's a time for it's fall time, so leaves start dropping, and people start wanting to stay in a little bit more, man, and cuddle up, watch scary movies, man. It's like the official start of a cuffing season. You know what I'm saying? So I think all of us are out the game at this point, but I mean we could kind of get a young guys, whoever this might come across, some tips, on how to go about it, and what we've experienced, man. Like I think it's something that everybody like psychologically feels like they have to start doing. You know what I'm saying? Once they hit this season, to start either moving a certain way, and so some people want to avoid it. You know what I mean? And it's a thing for some people to avoid it. Man, welcome to the party, my guy.
What up?
What, you ain't sleeping 3 days, probably, huh?
You said what?
I said you probably ain't slept in 3 days, huh?
Yeah, it's been rough, son. It's been rough, but it's better days coming, man.
There's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Better days coming.
But I was just now kind of breaking down the conversation for tonight, which is like cuffing season, and then later on we'll talk a little bit about social media and like TikTok and how that's affected us, our parenting styles. But yeah, man. So I just kind of wanted to add, throw the first question out there. Like, how did you find yourself preparing for this season coming up, or what did you start noticing about the counterparts around this time? Mo, go ahead, lead us out.
For me, man, the way I look at it, man, I should never be surprised for Christmas. So I always knew it was coming. So I was prepared for it. In a way I was looking at it, man, I was like, man, all spring and summer, man, it was trials. And the people who had, I guess the more that I had more in common with, and I could actually be around more often than not, those were the people that I was like, this is probably who's going to stick around and who's going to make the cut. And ultimately, I mean, and not just for a coffee season, that's just good. That's good practice for a mate. Like, y'all need to be compatible, and y'all need to have the same type of interest, and y'all need to be able to be together on those downtimes, not just when it's fun and it's lit. I think that's the most important thing, man. That's what I was always looking for. I was like, man, when I'm not doing anything, when it's not lit and it's not fun, who can I be around? And that's the biggest thing that I always look for. And once I did that, man, I already kind of had my top three, and then generally just attrition and everything else whittled itself down. And then from there, man, I made a decision, and generally, I live with my decision.
You came up with a fresh top three every year, like year in, year out.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say? That 1-2 year cycle, like, all right,
Yeah.
about
Rinse
to
and repeat, man.
out.
When it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. Rinse and repeat.
Period. What's up with you, Lee, man? What's this time mean for you? If you even participate, you're a divested kind of a guy, so you don't like to go to any norms. But how has this?
Yeah,
this season... Go ahead.
Well, I never really thought about it. You know what I mean? Like, I guess like I participated, but not consciously. Because I do think like I lived in a warm climate for a lot of years. During my free days. So,
it was always scouting, draft, and time for you, like
pretty much. But we did have those 2 months where it was like January, February, where it got a little cool. So around those times, it was like, okay, well, I don't at this point you don't have no coat, no long sleeve, nothing. So when it get that 30 degrees, man, it's like -20. So you're not trying to be out as much. You're not hitting the streets as often. So it's like, I probably did have a few that I kind of cycled through that time of year. Put on a couple little pounds or whatever and hung out in there. But I didn't think about it like that. I just, they was probably already on the roster throughout the year, but they just became more of that. I guess more often where I had more freedom when it was the warmer months. I was out doing a lot of stuff. So, you know what I mean? I might have been stifling through different people, but there was like the main stables through the winter that, that I kind of hung out with and spent more time with.
Faithful.
Yeah. So, but I didn't constantly think about it that way. But now that you say it, it's like, okay, now I'm thinking of these people and I'm like, oh, that's the piece that they played. That's the part they played in my life. You know what I mean? It's like, got cold outside. These was, you know what I mean? Those are the warm bodies during those months. So, I just never thought of it that way. So,
What's up with you? Has this time, this period of time, ever affected you? Your dating life, like according
to
the
season?
About
the cuffing season?
Yeah,
the infamous cuffing season. I think that's relevant. Like I didn't really think that was a thing, but it really is a thing. Even women like talk about like it's cuffing season, like they know. But I think it's relevant to where you at. Depend on the city, because I guess traditionally everything slows down in the summer. I mean, in the winter, right? In the summer months, everybody's out. It's more people. But I think it depends on where you at. Like in Atlanta, for instance, it never slows down, right? It's still the summer parties turn to winter parties. Like it just continues to go. And like in most major cities, like certain cities, it's just like it don't stop. The Houstons, you know what I'm saying? Like different places. So I think it's relevant to where you at, you know what I'm saying, geographically, and I think that affects, if you're gonna cuff or not. But I don't think the party don't ever stop in certain cities. But like like a Pittsburgh, for instance, yeah, you definitely gonna cuff a big one. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just it's just
big one though.
Yeah,
in Pittsburgh, I was just telling somebody how like hard Pittsburgh women are. Like they just so hard, yo. Like sheesh. Like why they gotta be so hard? Like it's tough pickings.
Yo,
still
I mean,
Milltown, man. Still
you say
Milltown.
hard, like mentality wise, or just
mentality rough. They're not soft
Managed.
at all. Like
Managed.
yeah, it's not. They're not feminine. Yeah. They don't want to shave their legs. Like you know what I'm saying. Like there's a lot that go with it. Like you might catch a few feminine joints, but they're few and far between, man. Them joints be like, yo, what up? You know what I'm saying? Like,
what up, bro?
Yeah.
What up, bro?
Yo, you sound like Charles Barkley talk about them chicks in San Antonio.
I don't know. I didn't hear that.
That's what it sounds like. Like, yeah, like, but I mean, I think because Pittsburgh is a hard city. Like
Yeah.
it's a like a blue collar, hard, gritty city. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it is tough to survive there. Like, I didn't see people fight for like $5. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's just like it's tough there, man. It's different. You know what I mean? You got to scratch and fight for every little bit you get. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I always say Pittsburgh is a good place to be from. You know what I mean? Because it teaches you a lot. It definitely, you know what I'm saying, builds a certain type of character. You know what I mean? But I don't know particularly think you should like it's a place to stay. You know what I'm saying? Because it hasn't changed. But that's a whole nother topic. But back to these cuffs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I do believe like depending on where you at is depending on like how that's going to affect how much you're going to cuff.
I agree with you, man, and I think we have an interesting dynamic with me and you being like extroverted and Mo and Lee being kind of introverted. Like I think they are more inclined to gear down, and we're more inclined to be like, "Hey, let's go. We're going deep." Like, you know what I'm saying? So it throws an interesting dynamic to the conversation. Personally, I don't think it's something I've always felt and wanted to participate in, but I guess I never really have. Like my timelines in dating never fell accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Like I would meet people in like December. You know what I'm saying? And those are the ones that would stick. Like people I met in December or January or something like that. For some strange reason, I just never like got in line. And then like once we moved down here, that's a whole nother can of like once I moved down here, it was a whole nother can of worms. Like there was no like kind of cool months until deep into it. And like you said, Atlanta just don't really stop. So you could always just go outside and pick for what, slow down for what. You know what I'm saying? We'll be back outside tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? There's no settling down here. So
You know what's crazy though? So I got to think about like the fourth quarter of the year. Like I try to like do a hard stop, like a break. You know what I mean? And I think even in our fourth quarter, I try not to deal with people or women. You know what I mean? Because I've been doing it all year. I just try to take that break and reset because I know the beginning of the year is coming. I want to make sure.
You trying to avoid them
You're
presents,
doing a
them
detox.
holidays.
Look, see,
You avoiding them holidays.
and I was out. Look, I was quiet and I was letting folks get they ish off. But no, if nothing else, I'm strategic, and I can do. I'm pretty agile. I can do whatever needs to be done. But with that being said, that's one of the reasons I would wind down. But for sure, even in Atlanta, like it definitely slows down. But more importantly, is I was trying to avoid that whole holiday season, whether you know what I mean, because if nothing else, you'll figure out where you stand with somebody on them holidays when it's November 25th or you know what I mean, or December 23rd is when you know what I mean when it goes radio silent. After that, that's when you kind of so to eliminate some of those awkward conversations, man, that's when I start kind of winding down, man. So if nothing else, I was strategic. So
well, let's talk about you brought in an interesting theory there. So just about who cares more about the holidays? Or you think that's I think men are more romantic than women. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no women on the panel to kind of combat that. But I think we're more suckers for love than they are. I know it's portrayed media wise that women are the ones that want this and that, but I feel like these women are ruthless on the slide, and it'd be the men that generally want romantic candlelight dinners and riding a boat, under Venice, and you know what I'm saying, like doing all the romantic stuff. I think men generally want that. I think we love a little bit harder than women do.
So I agree, but not for the same reasons. Because like as far as the romantic and the symbolism, I don't care for that. I'm more of a consistency. Like I'd rather do
we talking in generalities. Let's talk in generalities. Let's talk in generalities.
Yeah, but I mean, still, like regardless, I think that even still, let's say in general, men don't really care for the extra. They only do it because women are inviting them to do so. Like if you can go to what's the Sundial in Atlanta, like is the meal really that much better than Stony River? No, but you went there because the woman enticed you to go there.
Is that a double? That's a double flex. Hold on, time out. No, the food is not better than Stony River, but Stony River ain't no second cousin.
But it's still like the price. I mean, there's tiers to it as far as the pricing. So as far as a man's concerned, I'm like, I would have much rather go there. Whereas they're like, oh well, it's all about them, what they can post, and you know what I mean. So it's a little bit more of a flex from that standpoint. But I think more from the mundane and from the day-to-day consistency of romantic type events. I think but I don't think like we don't at least from the side of the table I sit on. I couldn't care less about riding under Venice. I would much rather actually take you to Paris and take you somewhere for the first time and putting that first stamp in your passport versus we did the Venice gondola ride. Like I'm more about the experience and more about the first than whatever the big grandiose gesture.
So you just hold on. You just mentioned something else. You throwing me off track with that first comment you just made. Do men generally want to be the first with their women?
Yes.
In everything? Is that a thing for us?
Yes. Who wants to be second?
I mean, an experience. Like, so you want to be the first person to take on to Paris?
Yes.
You want to be the first person? We already know, like. So you like? Would you rather a virgin?
Yeah.
Fellas,
good luck, but good luck,
yeah. I mean, chime in though. Like, would y'all rather virgins?
No, I wouldn't. Just personally, I wouldn't rather a virgin. But experience wise, like I would like to be the first one. You know what I mean? Put her on some new stuff. You know what I mean? To take her to a new place. You know what I mean? Thailand, for instance, you know what I mean? To take her to, you know what I mean? To put her on to some new things, new cuisines, new experiences for sure. Because you know what I mean? When you are dealing with somebody who's, I don't know, maybe done a lot, and now you're in the picture, and now you're trying to figure, okay, well, where do I fit in? What can I do? You know what I mean? And then you're doing this stuff. You're doing this stuff, and you're like doing stuff that somebody else
did. You want your stuff to be the first.
Well, it's just that you don't want to be bringing up memories from somebody else.
Why you didn't flinch? You didn't flinch?
Right? Yeah. You don't want to bring up memories from somebody else. You be having them think about somebody else while they on something with you because they did it already. You know what I mean? So put them on to something new. Now there's nothing for them to reference. This is the only thing they can think about is this is the first time that I've ever done this, and I'm doing it with you. So that's a memory y'all take forward. So anything that you ever done before, I would like to know ahead of time. That way we ain't doing that. You know what I mean? We're going to do something else. Put you on to something else.
See, I don't really want to know. I just, I'm going to just do some fly stuff that I would imagine, ain't too many people doing anyway. So, but no, I don't want to know. Like, nah, I don't need to know where the bodies is buried.
I do want to know where the bodies is. Go ahead.
I want to know.
What? I think Mo kind of contradicted himself a little bit, and I'm gonna say, I'm gonna tell you why. Because he said like men aren't the romantic ones, and that's to a point we're not. But what he's doing is the same thing you men are doing to be romantic. It's all about the flex. Like it's all about us trying to win the prize. So you want to be the first one to do something because you're gonna make the biggest impression. You know what I'm saying? It's about making that lasting impression. And being able to one up whatever the next guy I think he's about to do. So now he has to come like 2 steps higher and able to do the same thing. So it's really about like even like reason why we're romantic and we come up with all these ideas is because we're really caught up in the chase. Like, and you know what I'm saying? We're trying to win the prize and we're going above and beyond. So you're sitting there thinking like, damn, what could I do to grasp her attention? To be, you know what I'm saying? To be the only one in her viewpoint, and you got to do that by doing different things. You got to beat them out. So I think it's just another form of being in competition for men being romantic.
And I think you make a good point. And I'm not like I said, I'm not saying that we're not romantic. I said we are, but I said I don't agree for the same reasons. So it's intent in the audience. So the things that I'm doing is to impress you. The things that on a woman's side, they're doing it to impress the outside world. And that's why I'm like, is that really romantic or is that just really one-upping, one of them type of things? Whereas I don't have to post it. What me and you do in our memories together is enough. I don't need to post it. So, and that's just the intent in the audience is different. But no, I definitely think we're romantic because, and I'm sure we're gonna get to this.
Are you saying we're more romantic than women are?
Absolutely, yeah. But I just didn't agree with your reasoning. But yeah, absolutely.
We got to be more creative because it's more competition. Like, I mean, it's just the truth. It's the honest truth. But even at Tamo's point, even before posting, you still want to, like, if they can't call and tell their friends about something, it doesn't have the same impact because they get off from the jealousy that they get from their friends. So they get off when they be like, "Oh, girl, he did what?" You know what I'm saying? Boom, you won. Boom. That's
Hey, you'll mess up somebody else's relationship. You know what I'm saying?
But that's what they want. They want the jealousy part. That's what they want. So even before, that's why women post the way they post. It's because they're naturally jealous creatures. You know what I'm saying? They're in a different competition than we're in.
So I don't know. Did you answer if you would want the virgin?
Nah. I it's ideal. The problem is in this day and age, it's too much curiosity. You know what I'm saying? So like,
look, I'm about to ruin your night. When's the last time you ate out of a dumpster?
Yeah. Yo, but you gotta think though, because if that's all they know, it's too much exposure to the world. It would be too much curiosity for her. You know what I'm saying? She will eventually have to go and venture out and see if you're actually good or not good. You know what I'm saying? Like she wouldn't know no different. And I just think there's too many distractions in the world. You know what I mean? She's eventually gonna get curious, yo. And then I think that's gonna end in disaster.
I mean, okay, you planted your flag, like that's fine. I mean, if she decides that she found something better, and okay, bye. You know, Ray J. So, I
don't think he's saying she's gonna find something better. He's saying she's gonna blow it just because you're the first and the only. And even that second one's gonna sit. It's gonna be like crack, where like they're going to keep trying to look for that first hit, and it's never gonna come back.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's just gonna be too much curiosity, man. She ain't gonna know. Like she's gonna always wonder. You know what I mean? Even if you're doing everything and it was gonna be in the back of her head. You know what I mean? How is it with somebody else? So go ahead and get that out the way.
So would you rather that? And that's the problem you have to deal with. Or there's 100 bodies in that cemetery already. Did you're being compared to?
Yo, but then I mean, there's a lot of leeway between one body, two bodies,
and 100. 100 bodies.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. But honestly, once they over 35.
Never mind.
Look. Once over a certain age, though, you can look at the wear and tear of them bodies. You know what I'm saying? You can see wear and tear, dog.
I don't know. There's Philly cheesesteak, and then there's Arby's roast beef. Which one you want?
Where's the beef? Like it.
So where would you say is the Philly? Probably around 20.
26, 20, the 20.
I would say that Philly's probably somewhere between that 15 to 30 range. You know what I mean? That Arby's roast beef. Anywhere thereafter. Anywhere thereafter.
That's why I'm out the game. And that's why I told y'all. That's why I said I was like, hey, I don't need to know where the bodies are buried. Like,
but what if you found out?
Oh, well then So then I have to decide. Then I have to then I have a decision to make.
You got a choice. At any given time.
It's Uncle Phil time.
You know, it's it's crazy. They said there's a story out there where like a man and we're so far off the topic, but a man like divorced his wife like when he found out that she cheated on him, like, and they was like 80. You know,
it was like years ago, right? It's
get out of here.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter. Like any given time, like, and they be like, well, what if you never find out? If I ever do find out, look, we just broke up. You know, that was the last mark.
Big facts.
You know, it's wild that that stuff matters, but it kind of goes to what we're actually trying to accomplish. You know what I'm saying? And those things of when we're first and we could feel like, I don't know. You know, I just got an idea. I've dealt with women with a lot of history, and I didn't mind accepting their like when they're trying to put me on the things. When they're trying to put me on the new experiences, I took them all. You know what I'm saying? Like every experience, and I enjoyed them all, right? And I didn't mind that they had all these experiences, but I knew they wasn't for the long haul. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's the key.
Like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
like,
gonna sit there in it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's say she did go to Paris first, you know what I'm saying? And then I was like, all right, let's go to Paris, and I try to take her to Paris, but she knows her landscape around, and that's cool that she can show me around. But I'm gonna go get somebody else that never gone. But I mean, essentially though, I really want to experience things for the first time together. Like I don't.
Yep.
The difference is women always want somebody that's more experienced than them. So I mean, they don't want that in return. They want somebody that's kind of been there and can navigate. But I think I would prefer an experience of like this is our first time doing XYZ together.
Because you're more romantic.
Right. Got a point. See, yeah. So to the next, we got so far off of the topic, but how do you feel if have you gone through a cuffing season and already had somebody? Does the things change? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you get those urges, like you did your single thing, but now you got somebody, and now we're heading into next September. You know what I'm saying? You're on year 2, 3, or whatever. Do those emotions change, or do you still get the same twitches, the same fires? How's that work?
I'm gonna need you to clarify. I'm not sure. Like, are you saying like you want to go back outside, like once it gets hot again? Is that the question?
Yes.
Yes.
And are you saying
Hell, don't you still get the twitch?
Are we cuffing with the same person, or is it a different person?
Same. You already got one. You're carrying one from over. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember.
Okay. Okay. You got carryover.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You got carryover, right? Like she's pretty cool. She made it through a season or whenever you met her. You know what I'm saying? Hitting into spring when it's gearing back up. What goes on? Like, how do you handle? Are those emotions shelved, or do you go back through the process? And how do you handle that process of not wanting to explore?
Go ahead, Mo.
Yeah, man. I at that point, man, I think it's a risk versus reward analysis that goes into it, man. You like, okay, because I know it's out here, but at the same time, I'm like, what I'm losing, is it worth what I'm going to get out there? But ultimately, I mean, if they're making you happy and it's a longevity play, man, you shelve those emotions, but they don't go away. I mean, think about it, man. I ain't played ball in we talking about 15 years now. Early August, man, I still feel like it's about time to go to camp. So it's just muscle memory. But with that being said, man, as being a mature adult, you have to, you can't always be about what feels good. You know what I mean? And then you have to kind of go about, what's good for you versus what feels good. And that's always how I went about it. But trust and believe, it's still there. You definitely be like, ooh, please act up. So I get it.
Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah, I mean, so I've actually had this situation happen like in multiple years. And the crazy thing is that the person that was cuffing during those cold little winter months, the moment the spring hit, and folks was like, I was getting hit up, and it was like, yo, we coming in town, because it was always like somebody like Florida, you know what I mean? Somebody's always trying to come down, say, yo, we coming down. Like the moment spring hit and folks start coming down, spring break and stuff like that, it was like, yo, no disrespect, but when they get here, you don't exist. You know what I mean? And I've had that conversation multiple times, dog. Like multiple times, yo. And it was great. It was straight like, yo, we've had a good time. It's been dope. You know what I mean? I rock with you. But when they get here, you don't exist. And they get there, we kick it for however long they get there. And then when they leave, back to it. You know what I mean? But it was like, that was a conversation that had to be had, because you know what I mean? What they say, one monkey don't stop no show. So the show went on. You know what I mean? The show carried on. Once spring hit, summer hit, man, I'm out here. But at the same time, I'm not stopping stopping nothing over there. You do what you feel you need to do. But as far as this thing goes, you know what I mean? Winter over, spring here.
How do you handle that hit?
Yo, so I actually did a temporary cuffing agreement before, like, real talk, like, and it's
Was it
funny because he said,
bad power? You got a tip agency.
yeah, like, yo, we set the dates. It was from November to February 28th, like right going into spring, right? No, this is for real. And we made an agreement, like, hey, we're gonna ride this out, see how it go, you know what I mean? And we're going to do a hard stop this date. And no bullshit, February 28th at 11:59, we severed. You know what I'm saying? And we still good. I mean, everything is still good, but you know what I mean? Because she understood the cuff. I understood the cuff. It was like, hey, like, this is good. Like I said, fourth quarter, I was ready to slow down anyway, but I actually did that. And it's like, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible at all. It was actually pretty decent. So it actually really worked out. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you guys out there ever want to do a temporary cuffing agreement, boom, just, you know what I'm saying? Run that trial. Soon as spring come, like Leaf said, boom, you out of the agreement. You already make your plans to be out of the agreement. You like, hey, listen, I'm setting this up. You know what I'm saying? Knowing you coming out of contract, you know what I mean? You good to go. I think it's really about, I think in communication, I think a lot of times we fail to communicate. I think because we're scared of, if we communicate, something's going to happen, or we're not going to get the result we want, and we don't communicate. But I know often when you communicate, what I found lately, the more you communicate, like, the more I find that people agree with me, you know what I mean? Or willing to, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? To get on board. So don't ever be scared to ask.
So how I kind of like, I need that. So if I'm bringing on a remainder or whatever, I need that person to join me. I don't want to shelve those feelings, like, you know what I'm saying. So I don't want to hide or like not be who I am. I need you to come outside and enjoy the environment with me. You know what I'm saying? And I know how to like withhold my restraint to go that extra mile, but at the same time, like, you need to be like in the presence of whatever's going on, and don't leave me by myself. Like, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna be good for nobody. But you need to come. I'm inviting you to the journey, and it's up to you to decide whether you're gonna come or not. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't make it, then you know what I mean. But I'm hoping that you could kind of ride through the seasons with me. You know what I'm saying? So as wherever I'm going in the season, you got to be right there with me. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of my way of handling that, and just making sure that things don't go too far, especially if I want to keep a situation. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I've handled moving forward. How would you deal with what happens when, like, you go through the process and you end up with a bad draft pick? Like, dang,
Cut bait early. Cut bait.
But you're at risk. You're at risk of jeopardizing the rest of the season. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna cut your QB right now.
Like, we're in Atlanta. The pool never dries up. It just gets smaller. Yeah. Cut bait. When you see it, like, I made a mistake. You went and drafted that running back in the first round. You're like, this ain't it. Cut bait early. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, throwing, usually what they say when a person's in a hole, stop digging. Like, be like, this ain't working. Abort mission. Move on. That was always how I went about it, man. I just ripped the Band-Aid off.
How you dealt with your bad draft picks, Lee?
Yo, it's crazy, man. Man, I'm mad disrespectful, and I don't mean I don't mean to be, but you know what I mean. I guess I'm a byproduct of my family. So, man, I've had some bad ones, man. that I thought was like it was good and solid when I, you know what I mean, when they came on, and I was like, yo, this is dope. And then it was like, womp womp womp. And I had to let them, like I had to kick people out. Like, yo, I kick people out. Like, I'm like, yo, you gotta go. You gotta go. Like, and it was what it was, because at the end of the day, it was like, I don't want to waste your time and I don't want to waste my time. And right now, you know what I mean? I'm a hot commodity. So it's like, boom. So I had to just kick them. I was like, I had to kick them out. But you know what I mean? That's how it was. Like, I wasn't going to sit there and just deal with bull crap just for the sake of dealing with it. So it was like, if it wasn't moving in the right direction or it wasn't moving how I thought it should be moving, then man, I'm like, yo, you gotta go, man. Like, thanks for lunch, thanks for dinner, whatever we was doing, yo, you gotta go. You know what I mean? And if they needed a ride home, I take them home, get them a cab, whatever it was. But yeah, I've been super disrespectful with it, because at the end of the day,
Your
man,
Uber's
it's
here.
like, yo, hey, yeah, hey, dog. I think in those days there wasn't even no Uber. It was like you had to get a straight up cabbie. You couldn't even get no Uber.
Your
You had to get a
jitney's
cabbie.
here.
Like, you got to get up out of here, right? Like, you got to go, man, because this is like, it wasn't what I expected. So, you know what I mean? And like I said, for me, it was just like, I don't want to waste your time and I don't want to waste my time. So if it's on me, it's like, okay, man, I take that, I put that bill. Like, this is all on me. Yo, I'm sorry. Boom, take this. And you gotta let her go. And that's it.
What about you, Ed? What do you do with your bad draft picks?
I do like the 49ers, man. You trade them to the Cowboys. You know?
Ship 'em off the backup Dak.
No, you know what I'm saying? And that's real. Allow them to go and seek their own trades, but they show up to the facility and they badge don't work no more. That's what I do. I don't do too much arguing. I ain't gonna do no discussion. I'm just gonna go cold. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna leave me. They're gonna be like,
Coach
yo,
wants
they
you to
gonna
bring your playbook.
they gonna tell me I'm not the one. You know what I'm saying? Like, but this ain't working for me. Oh, okay, I understand. I got you. That's cool. I appreciate it. All right, you're right. You know what? I'm gonna work on me. I'll see you later. Like, I think people, if you just honest, people feel it. They're gonna know it. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna feel it. And like I said, they're gonna go and try they're gonna ask there for their own trade. So I think that's the best way I don't think at this point, at this age that we're at, that you can retrain bad habits. You know what I'm saying? You know, we looking at sports. Once somebody becomes a veteran, it's really hard to reteach bad habits. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what they set on. That's how they move. So I don't think we can do that at this age or have the time to do it. I think it's best just to, you know what I'm saying, find somewhere that fits in your system better.
So I kind of disagree. I got a little bit of pushback on you, and I would imagine Vic's probably gonna back me up on this. If you're that guy and they feel that you're the best option, they'll change.
Oh, I think intangibles is intangibles. You know what I mean? Certain things that you have, you born with.
Especially not for a woman.
They may change temporarily to secure you, but then you're gonna sing that same old tune. Oh, she didn't change, or you know what I mean? Now that she got me, she acting different. Now she just being who she was before she secured the bag. So I think
and you're right, but as long as you're always to the point of I'm never scared to lose you, that tends to keep a person in line long term, because you're always having to prove yourself. You're always having to earn my presence and earn my love. Otherwise,
but that's a lot of pressure on you, because what if you have a down season? What if you tear Achilles? You know what I mean? Then that's it. Like, you tell me you gotta perform.
I mean, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. It's kind of one of those things where you understand the game. But I mean, Mo Better's from definitely right. He probably heard me say it plenty of times that that same sentiment, like they'll change for you. And unfortunately, the work is, man, you just had the conversation. The work is always you always got to keep your foot on their neck. You always got to do the check-ins. You always got to keep them up. Blah 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 blah. Hey, what you do with this? Hey, how's that project? You know what I'm saying? The management is real, right? Did we not? We just had that conversation. So it's the same thing.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's not nothing new. That's a long-term investment you got. We talking about something that is new. Would you do that all over again at this age?
Yes.
So you would take
Absolutely.
somebody that you got to put that much work into at this age.
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh,
because the work is
Yeah,
I
the
want to
work.
customize it. I want to customize it to, like I said, I don't eat out of the dumpster. I want my own. I want to customize it. I want my PlayStation to have my grip. I want all that. So yeah, absolutely.
no, that no, that
I don't want to play with your
that's
same
not the same
game.
thing. That's not the same thing. That's not the same. Now, yeah, customizing is different. I get that. I get that. But you're talking about trying to teach someone and show somebody how to be not what you want, but to be like a good person. That's just a lot, yo. Like that's
But
a lot to
remember,
try
we
to
talked
receive.
about this on a previous show, man. As men, we got to do a better job of teaching folks how to love us. We talked about that. Like, yeah, so I mean, what was maybe optional with somebody else, if you're dealing with somebody who had somebody else, no, that's requirement here. So you can't do it, a couple seasons and then have an off season. No, in order to stay in this chair, in this cockpit, I need you to do this consistently. Otherwise,
So you're teaching her how to love you, right? But she still got to have the ability to love. So what if she don't have the ability to love? Then
Well,
you got to, you see what I'm saying? She got to have that intent. She still has the ability to love. She just got to figure out how you want it done. Like you customize it to you. But if she doesn't have that ability, that's what I'm talking about. The intangibles is not there.
She already got hit upside the head in her Ubers on the way. So I mean, that's.
But you know what I'm saying? That's the part I'm talking about. Teaching them the intangible.
I mean, there's some things that you're not going to deal with, like off top. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like some people get cut off the roster, a roster. Some people make it on a practice team. You know what I'm saying? You keep them on a practice squad.
Some people are just tackling dummies.
Yeah, like it just depends on how you want to use it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so me personally, to answer the question, I go to RB by committee. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't necessarily throw in
Dr. Frankenstein.
Listen, I don't throw people away. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever they're good at, thank you. You know what I'm saying? And we'll keep that going. But I need
you got lightning and thunder
there. Lightning, thunder, hurricane, tornado, whatever's needed to run the play. You know what I'm saying? We got to win this game. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I really care about. So like, that's all. If that's all I'm gonna get, then cool. I get that. I'll chop it up. You know what I'm saying? And find what I need. You know what I mean? Wherever else it is. So that's just one of my things. But how do you think like social media plays a part on how we feel? Like, do you think it adds or draws away from how we feel during these different seasons? How do you think social media pulls on us?
I mean, I think social media adds an extra layer of pressure because, especially when you're dealing with, women and things like that, they're using social media as a bottom line. Like, that's reality to them. You know what I mean? They're watching it, they're seeing what's going on, or what people are posting. I'm not saying it's reality, but what people are posting in different relationships and different things, and they're using that as a buffer for what they think, or at least a bottom line of what they think they should be receiving and how they should think their relationship should be going. So every time somebody else posts something new, well, why ain't I doing that? Or why ain't I get this? And so it's always that extra layer of pressure added on to your plate on as to, what you need to provide or what you need to be doing, you know what I mean? Because of the immediacy of social media. Everybody's always trying to one up the next person. So as soon as somebody posts something new, we need to be posting something new. Oh, we need to be doing something else. So we need to be. So social media adds an extra layer of pressure to relationships and, to just people in general, just to keep up with the Joneses, as they say. You know what I mean? So I think it adds unnecessary stress, which is why I typically try not to follow so much social media, and I try to just, be on there and get off as soon as possible. Like I don't go through anybody's post because it will have you in a thing where you feeling some kind of way because all you see is the good, but they don't ever post the bad that happens behind it. So all you see is
literally a highlight
happening. For real. So that's why social media is a rough thing to follow because you get 3-minute clip of some of the best parts of their lives, but there's 24 hours in a day. What happened the rest of that day? You know what I mean? That everything could have went bad the rest of that day, but that 3-minute clip, is all you see.
I think for me, it plays a huge role. You know what I'm saying? Especially like if you get caught in like doom scrolling and you're just sitting there scrolling all day and you're taking in all these ideas from all these different people. You know what I'm saying? And it throws you off, like because especially around this season, like you'll start seeing the cuffing season memes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you'll be like, damn man, maybe I should have something right now, or I didn't even have a scouting season, or I didn't have this, or you know what I'm saying, or damn, I don't got nobody. I need to find somebody to go to pumpkin patch with. Or damn, like scary movies is coming out. I need to find like you know what I'm saying because people are posting these things, so it definitely like just pressures you and weighs on you. I'm trying to start getting off of it and being cool, like, but it's definitely like I have a lock on it. You know what I'm saying? Where I actually gotta like use my like passcode to get into any social media app I have. Just an extra barrier to make me think about like, yo, can't you be doing something else? You know what I'm saying? Like it's not even necessarily for anything else other than to just give me a barrier of like, man, be cool, get off of this. I be sending y'all shit all day though, so I mean, I don't know how good it's working. What's up, Hit? What you got? What you got to say about it?
Yo, I just goes back to my point earlier, man. Like that social media will draw you outside, women and men in general. You know what I'm saying? I was just on there earlier, and somebody I thought I didn't like was up in there twerking, and I thought about hitting her up. I said I might hit this up. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, you know what I mean? And in my mind, I didn't even like her. You know what I'm saying? Told her to be done with her. So and it's the same effect on women, man. They, you know what I'm saying? That'll pull you outside. It will pull you out if you're not disciplined enough and understand that this is fantasy. You know what I'm saying? This is like the new Sims. This is real life Sims. Like people are putting this together and creating a reality. And you know what I mean? That's just what it is. It's just a created reality. It's not. It's not real. It doesn't exist. So I think men and women in general fall victim to it. Like you said, like whatever, like it's a new trend. Like people really do it. Like even sayings, you know what I'm saying? Like you see people like gravitating to it. Like I really think whoever invented the social media, like people who invented it, is really genius, yo. Like it's really a genius. It's really a genius thing. Like how you can capture people's attention that much. You know what I'm saying? And change the way they think at the same time. It's really a powerful tool.
It's on me. So you know, man, I don't really have much social media, man. So I'm a lot less likely. But for me, yo, I like now I will say, like, I literally got TikTok just to monitor my daughter, and I catch myself being on it so much. So I could only imagine if you have 2 or 3 of those to capture your attention, man. I literally see it as programming. Like they're literally programming your mind, how to think, how like, and I see how, you know, I get that it's the algorithm, so you're kind of seeing people that are like-minded, but a lot of it, man, like it's all FOMO, man. People are like, oh my God, I'm missing out. I'm like, okay, so if you go to Dubai, you may not be able to pay your rent. So what are you really missing out on? Like, I want you to not miss out on getting kicked out. How about that? So I think a lot of it is understanding what your reality is versus the next man, and understanding, especially now. I mean, every time for every 10 posts that I see, obviously I only have TikTok, probably 5 of them are a skit. And I'm like, golly, man, like content creation isn't a job. Like people are like, they're just trying to not work. Like that's what, it's not a job.
I beg to differ. I beg to differ, dog.
It pays though. They get paid. It definitely paying.
So I compare it to the same thing. Remember on the whole athletics episode we had. Okay, for every 1% that makes money, that's able to live off of it, how many people is struggling and refusing to actually do something to be progressive and actually to live their life? And I get we're probably going a little bit off path, but man, I think that it augments reality, and it doesn't allow you to be progressive. So, but what I will say, those other 4 posts, a lot of times, man, I get some value add out of it. That's the reason that I keep going back to it, because I get something out of it that's valuable, and I'm like, ooh, if I could just get more of that. But I have to sift through maybe 6 of the BS to get to those 4 jewels. And what ends up happening, man, specifically, and I think, because we're a little bit less emotionally driven than, obviously the female of the species. Yo, they're really getting it. Like, I mean, they're like, oh, well, maybe we should be doing this. And I'm like, okay, how are we gonna pay for this? Well, I didn't think about that. I'm like, of course you didn't. Like, it told you how dope it was, but it didn't even tell you how much it costs. Like, okay, well, why don't we actually see the practicality of doing all these grandiose things? How about that? So I find myself trying to stay grounded versus chasing my nose. I remember I used to have a beagle, and he would just chase his nose, and he couldn't find his way home because he was following his nose. So I can see the correlation between that and social media. You're just following your nose, you're scrolling, and the next thing you know, you forgot what you really needed to be handling to make sure that your reality is straight. So I think sometimes, man, that really plays a factor. But I mean, it's all in being grounded and understanding. Make sure you handle the business first, and then you can go and play and whatever. So yeah, it's definitely it's a tough animal to kind of to stay disciplined, to not let take a hold of you.
Yeah, I think that social media causes most people to cheat. Like, honestly, because
I agree.
It's so much access. You know what I'm saying? The access that you probably wouldn't have if you're not going, like, especially in a relationship, you're not going out as much. And I'm telling you right now, just like I said, you can see somebody that you haven't seen in a while, and they'll post something and it has something, be doing something, you be like, dang, that she look good. I remember, man. Let me hit her up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that happens all the time, man. And it's same with men and women alike. I think that
I've seen people get caught up that might have already been doing, like I call it analog digital. So people that's on that analog time, they was already doing what they was doing anyway. But in this new digital age, the same additional access, man, is getting them caught up. That whole look, they start like this, and this is something that goes on now. They'll start talking to a dude and they'll post him and be like, here's a picture of whose man is this?
Yeah. Yep.
Like they said, like, remember when they used to say, they be like, hey man, the new drug dealers can't do what they did. Too many cameras, too much technology. It's almost the same thing with that too. Like, you can't really move how you used to move in that analog world now because it's too much access and too many connections. So you have to really think about what you're doing because you have a way more likely chance of getting caught.
So you kind of alluded to something. This kind of what something I wanted to touch on tonight. How have you parented against or protected your kids against social media? And I want to add in the Roblox. You know what I'm saying? Like, Roblox is a part of social media too, man. And these kids are like super addicted to it. So what parenting techniques have y'all used to kind of monitor, maintain, not let your kid go over the deep end on this social media stuff? Leafer,
So
I ain't heard from you.
Go ahead. So for me, man, like, and in my opinion, man, I feel I dropped the ball. I dropped the ball on that because, like, a lot of it was like, I remember back in the day, like, my daughter's old now, but like, I remember back in the day, she was like really young and was doing Roblox, and I was so naive to it. I was like, oh, this is like Sims. I didn't realize there was a chat messaging component to it. And I just noticed she was on it all the time. And eventually, I mean, we're probably talking months in, and I was like, man, let me see what's going on here. And and I noticed that she was just being very defensive as to what she was showing me. Like, oh, well, this is where I got a bakery. And I'm like, hold on, let me see this. And I saw like a chat, and I'm like, who's these people? Oh, those are my friends. I was like, do you actually know them? No, man, it's probably some grown man. I was like, nah. So there's a lot of monitoring and a lot of saying, hey, this isn't always what it seems. Because as a child, man, they don't have the discernment to be like, who am I talking to, and do they have the right intent for me, and are they who they say they are? So, man, I felt that I wish I would have done a much better job of monitoring, putting safeguards in place, and being able to explain to, hey, man, the world isn't as fluffy and candy-ish that you think. Man, the world can be a dangerous place, so be mindful. And maybe I should have had more more guidance and more permissions around that. I feel I dropped the ball in that regard for sure.
So it's hard to have guidance over some shit you don't understand. So the way that they operate now is so far beyond our dial-up internet shit that we was dealing with when we was coming up, that you almost
Yahoo,
you almost need to get, you know, a tutorial and get taught, you know, again of what's going on, because, you know, I've always been like wary of social media. So I never really allowed my daughter to get on social media. Not to say that she ain't sneaking get on social media, because maybe she did. But I never allowed it. I was like, no, you too young. You don't need to be on no social media. You don't need to be on here. There's people on here catfishing or acting like they're, you know, kids, and they're grown people. They're trying to set up meetups. And that's how you get taken 1, 2, and 3. That's the movie. But I always use that as a reference for my daughter, because, you know what I mean? You think everything is sweet out here because you never had to, you know, to deal with any adversity, and your life is all cushy. But there's people out here who mean you harm, you know what I mean, will sell you in the sex trade, you know, in a minute, you know what I mean, have you shipping around somewhere, and that's that's just reality. Like, if you think about, you know, you don't even think about it in Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh is a large hub for the sex trafficking trade, so it's crazy. So I'm always cognizant of that, but I was always on her about like, chill with the social media. You know, and she had a little TikTok or was it a Snapchat or whatever, but she's supposed to have a private page to where nobody could, you know what I mean, nobody could get on it except people that she accept. But you know what I mean, if you're accepting people outside your friend group, then you're susceptible to anything. And even if you're accepting people that you think are your friends, their pages could be hacked by somebody. So, you know, it's a messy game, because you don't really know where to step in or where you're overstepping, you know what I mean? And you don't necessarily want to be, you know, want to be that overbearing parent that's, you know, stopping your kid from doing everything that everybody else is doing her age. But at the same time, you got to be protective, and you got to understand that she doesn't know what she doesn't know, or he doesn't know what he doesn't know. And that, you know what I mean, your worldview is a little bit more developed than theirs is, because they're looking at it from this whole social aspect, like, oh, I gotta have a social life, I gotta be connected. If I'm not in the know, then, you know, I'm not the it girl or the it guy or whatever. But, you know, so it's always a difficult thing to deal with, because, man, these high school, like these teenagers, let me say high school, but these teenagers, period, you know what I mean, they're into a whole bunch of this cyber stuff that wasn't available when we were kids. So it's a whole different dynamic. So, you know, I'm probably doing a horrible job, but I try to, you know what I mean? I try to, you know, be that dad that's peeking in and it's being observant and it's checking in. But, man, like you said, Roblox, man, who would think to check the chat on a game? We didn't have no, well, I guess, you know, with certain games, like, you know what I mean, the little live action games, they, you know, you could talk on it and stuff. But I don't know if there's like a chat where you could have private chats and stuff. Like, that's crazy. You got a game available to children and adolescents where you can chat to people all over the world and wherever, you know what I mean, that's scary. So it's hard to be the parent you need to be without literally being up your kid behind all day and checking everything, because they even have those games on their phone that have those live chats. You know what I mean? So I'm sure we all dropped the ball, and we can all do better, but it's different because every day the technology gets better and better. So, you know what I mean? They find, as soon as we figure this one thing out, they figure out a new way. So yeah, I don't really know the solution for that, except just being on your kids every day and try to build a sound relationship with your kids, that they are willing to be honest with you, because, you know, they can hide whatever they want to hide. You know, they just play Roblox when you ain't around, and then they can do all the chats and little, you know, stuff that they're doing.
Go ahead.
Yo, I think the best solution is the parents need to log out of social media and take their kids outside and put their ass in a sport. You know what I'm saying? Put them in some type of club. But I think a lot of it's on the parents. The parents is scrolling and chatting just like the kids are. You know what I mean? They all sitting at the table doing it together. So I think as you know what I'm saying, the parents, got to take the initial step and log out, and then get your kids in a real, you know what I'm saying? Put them in a sport, put them in some type of social club, put them in something. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop letting them police themselves. You know what I mean? You gotta get involved. You know what I'm saying? Force their ass outside. You know what I'm saying? Go outside with them. You know what I mean? Throw a ball with them. Do something. You know what I mean? Like, I think what happens is, man, we think, the kids are different. They're not like we were able to be on our outside by ourselves and do things for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because we had imagination. You know what I mean? We had to be creative because our video games wasn't the same. You know what I'm saying? Our video games ended. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can actually beat a game and it was over. You know what I'm saying? And like, you had to either wait for the next one or you had to go outside and figure something out. Like, right now, they can play the same video games for months. You know what I'm saying? So it's just totally different now. They don't have to have the same creativity, but I think that falls on the parents, man. I put myself included. We thought that they were going to be like us naturally, organic. It's going to happen organically, and we allowed it. And that's what we got. We get what we put into it. So take their ass outside, man. You know what I'm saying? Go out there with them. You can put your phone down too. Yeah, y'all help each other, man. And you know what I mean? Just like if you can go to a restaurant today, everybody sit down. Everybody pull their phone out. The mom, the dad, the kids. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got their phone out. You know what I mean? And somebody got to be the one, and the parent got to be the one that starts it. And you know what I mean? Be the example, man. Tell parents, put social media down too.
Hey, that was real hit, man. Like, you're absolutely right. And you just made this whole episode solution based, and I appreciate you for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was definitely a solution that needed to be heard. Like, the parents need to log out. You know what I'm saying? Because I was going to say, like, it's definitely one of those things where this is where two parents is important. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll be trying to monitor by yourself your kid's social media. Oh my goodness, it's overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? Trying to stay
And
on
what if
top of them like
what if
that.
y'all ain't in the same house?
That's what I'm saying. Y'all not in the same house, or y'all splitting time, or whatever. It is an absolute monster, man. And you can't even control what's going on at the other house. You can't even control what's going on in the other room when you're even by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because you're over there trying to make dinner, or you're trying to do whatever you're doing, and they're going to get that alone time because you're juggling things. You know what I'm saying? So this is where the nuclear family comes out play, man, and it's one of the reasons why it's so important. But hey, man, I love what you just said, man. The parents need to log out. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's what we all need to do, period. Just all log out and start living life for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got a trip coming, and I'm like, I ain't even posting it. That's how I'm thinking. That's how I've been thinking in my head. Like, there's nothing to post at this point. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm low key over it. But we'll see how it all shakes out.
But how does the parents logging out solve the problem of the kids with the cell phone with connectivity?
Because you might lose visibility.
Even if you're out, now you lose visibility of what they're doing because they have a cell phone and all of their social media is on their cell phone.
You gotta follow all the instructions, right? He's like, log out and reassert that attention to them. Take them outside. Go be with your kids instead of, reallocate the time, not just log out to be logging out. Log out, reallocate the time to focus on them, interacting with them, doing things with them, and in return, that gives them less time to also sneak off and go do XYZ.
Yeah, because look, I'm next to you. Like, I'm next to you, right? You know what I mean? And it's hard for you to say, hey, put your phone away when you got your phone out. You know what I mean? You got to be the example. You know what I'm saying? We can't parent on that. Do what I say, not what I do. Yeah, we can't do that. You got to be, hey, I got my phone. Put your shit down. We about to talk, or we about to play. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's engagement. You know what I mean? You got to get back engaged.
So I think that being solution based, and actually as Hit was actually doing that, I was actually Googling something. I was thinking like the whole nuclear family. I mean, what 76% of our kids aren't born into that. So I mean, we need to probably create a better mousetrap for our reality right now. And one of the things that I was looking up, man, there was this service called Life 360 where it basically monitors it for you. Because I remember in those formative years, I was doing a lot, man. I was busy. I'm here or there. So man, I suggest that as a better mousetrap for the realities of what's actually going on, and what's more probable than the kind of the nuclear family. Obviously, that's what I would love to have, but
Wait,
if
so
you've
saying
already not
us as a
had that,
community, us as a society, we can't get back to nuclear families being.
we can. But what if you've already made the jump outside of that?
I think you can get back into it. So is step parents not considered nuclear?
No,
it's not,
because they're going to still go. In theory, they're still going to have to go to that other house at some point. It potentially has different sets of rules.
I gotta look up the definition, but like I'm gonna look up the definition. But I thought reassembling the family, you know what I'm saying, given that structure, it would be considered a nuclear family. But I might.
Yeah, that sounds good, and it's a pseudo nuclear family. But the only problem with that, eventually, that kid, if there's a certain level of co-parenting, they're gonna have to go to the other house.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be similar to going to the grandparents' house or going to the auntie or uncle's house?
Yeah.
There's different rules and stuff. So I don't think that changes the dynamic of the household that they're at 99% of the time. I just think that it's just like, and not to take nothing away from the other family over there, but that family is not the main family. That's vacation. You know what I mean? When you come home, you know what home is. You know what I mean? And when you at grandma's house, uncle's house, auntie's house, you know what I mean? You got your rules over there, which may be the same, but they may be different too. So, you know what I mean? Because they're not trying to raise you. They're just trying to maintain you while you're there. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I would say that in some of those situations that maybe it's not the nuclear family, but it is the closest thing to a nuclear family that you can have outside the box. Is you got two parents there that are invested into the well-being of that kid, of the well-being of that child. But then everybody else is, if they're not buying into what you guys have set, then they are just auntie and uncle. You know what I mean? They're not the long haul. You know what I mean? They're just summer.
No, that makes
that's real. I remember I literally had the fear of this whole social media phone stuff back in the day. I want to say about 6 years old. I remember, I won't say I was overruled, but they went against my wishes and got her a phone because I said she is not ready for a phone. I remember this. I was like, she should not have a phone. She's too young. It's going to expose her too much. When she went to the other house, literally she got a phone, and no telling how long, but eventually I found out that she had a phone and they just were keeping it from me. So those are the type. So that's the reality of the situation. So that's why I'm like trying to create a better mousetrap for the people that don't have the ideal situation.
No, that's real. I mean, because I think to a Mo's point, that's still an actual parent that could pseudo trump you. Like, I think a kid understands that auntie can't trump mom, but mom could trump dad.
No, I don't think the kid does though, because at the same time, what auntie and uncle does is like, don't tell your mama. You know what I mean? And I mean, and they do that all the time. I mean,
that's me. With
I know my sisters and brothers do that all the time. My sisters and brothers
say KFC.
Hey, here you go. Hey, take this. Don't tell your mama. You know what I mean? Don't tell your mama. So I think that's just anybody outside of your household who just wants to have a good relationship with your kid and they want to build that rapport, but they can't build the rapport the same way the parent does because they don't have the same authority. So they have to come in friend mode, you know what I mean? And say, they don't allow you to eat ice cream. Hey, we're going to have an ice cream party. Oh, they don't allow you to eat pizza late at night. Hey, we're going to have a movie night eating pizza. And they have to come with that because that's their way in. Yeah, I mean, but that's the way in. That's the way to build the rapport.
Yeah, like creepy.
Look, that
That's the
don't
way to
do it
build the
nowadays. It'd be
relationship.
like,
So
hey,
they
I
do
got free
that.
Wi-Fi. The creeps is offering out free Wi-Fi now.
So
Hey, I
you
got
know
some
what I mean?
Wi-Fi.
But
Yeah,
that's
true.
the way. That's the way to do it.
You need to
know what
charge
I
your
mean?
phone.
So
You can charge your phone in
Got
the
this
bed.
hotspot on deck.
you charge your phone all you want. You charge it. We got unlimited candy. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean that I see my sisters and brothers do that all the time. You know what I mean? Like even when my sister comes here to babysit my son, she'll let this dude be Tasmanian devil and wreck my whole house because she's not here to parent him. She's just here to watch him and make sure he don't die. And she lets him do whatever he wants. I come home and stuff is all over the place. She's like, I did my job, and she's out. And she's cool with that because she's auntie. Like she wants to be in this space where she doesn't have to raise a kid. And that's it. You know what I mean? Anybody outside of that household, whether it's nuclear or not, co-nuclear, it's just trying to maintain a relationship with the child. You know what I mean? So they're not doing the same things that the nuclear family's doing. Like, we are worried about the child's well-being because if the child goes to prison or goes to jail or wherever, we got to bail her out. If something happens and they get hurt, she's on our insurance. We got to take her to the hospital. You know what I mean? So those things, those real life things are on us. They're not on this secondary parent or this secondary person. So they get to enjoy the luxuries of just being able to have a good relationship where we just got to have a parenting relationship where we gotta make sure stuff is good and we gotta do stuff whether you like it or not. They just trying to connect. So it's just different relationship. It's needed for sure. You know what I mean? Because they'll learn some stuff that we won't learn because they're going to bottle up against us because they're going to think we're the worst people in the world. So they'll open up to them. So that's where the partnership comes in. Like, we need you to be open to them so they can give you information that you could give to us. You know what I mean? That they won't tell us. So, I mean, I think it all works hand in hand, but it's just a different thing when you have to deal with it day to day. You have to deal with the attitudes. You have to deal with dysfunction. You have to deal with the mood swings. You have to deal with everything that comes with it day to day, and then you get to deal with it for a week or two in the summer. Like that's it's not the same relationship.
Well, hey, I would like to keep y'all boys for an hour, man. I know everybody busy, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate this, man. And this was a good little session for us, man. And that's another Tuesday night, you know, Prototype Dad. And we out.